All right.
Hi, folks. It's Gerry from DIPG Research with Dr. Marcelo Ortigao. And today we are actually talking again about the National Institute of Health pause under the new administration. And we're giving a update on how we see it going today. Uh, Marcelo, would you like to give us some insights about the email that you viewed from Dorothy Fink?
Hi, Jerry. Hi, good to see you again. And just as a reminder, I'm a DIPG parent, uh, father of Juliana, who passed away March 3rd, 2019. And I'm based in Colorado, Fort Collins, Colorado. And we discussed last week the NIH pause on the review sections that were about to take place for the incoming and the submitted research proposals for the current fiscal year and moving, however many years depending on the application. And what we know at this point is that NIH, as with many other institutes, is under the Department of Health and Human Service. The current acting secretary, Dorothy Fink, had sent this now well-known memo establishing the pause on all research activities and travel and so forth. And as far as we know, this memo is in place until February 1st. So beyond February 1st, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know at this point whether NIH will go back to its normal activities with the restatement of the review panels of the scientist travel and so forth. And we're just waiting to hear from the current administration what this might entail after that date.
Okay. So hopefully it will be ended sooner rather than later. But I suppose the main point here is that even if it does end, it's going to actually take time to restart.
Well, possibly yes, because imagine the following scenario: you have dozens of already scheduled review panels that were in place or were about to start to review the various applications for the various institutes. As I mentioned previously, NIH is composed of 27 institutes. 24 of those are actually institute that have grant mechanisms, so they will provide research to investigators who submit their applications, so on and so forth. So you have to invite individuals from across the country, professors, scientists, clinicians, and so forth, to participate in the various panels that are organized. And obviously, these individuals are extremely busy. They had to find, if you are a reviewer, you have to find time in your schedule to uh, match the date that the panel needs to meet, and then you have to arrange travel and all these things combined. And if you cancel all that, and then you have a pause, by the time the pause ends, you have to bring all that back, and you have to figure out if the same individuals are available, and kind of a snowballs potentially, and that can create severe delays. And as again, we simply do not know at this point because we don't know when the pause will end.
Mm, mm. Yeah, so that's going to affect a multiple of stakeholders throughout the field, not only the researchers, the investigators, but everything from universities to locations. It's huge. Um,
Absolutely. I mean, there are many people involved. I mean, every single application. Imagine one application that has the principal investigator and has a
mm,
team of investigators, and then may have technicians involved and postdoctoral fellows or other scientists involved or clinicians and so forth. So everybody is waiting to hear, and the university has what is called the indirect funds that they're waiting to potentially, once the application is approved, there's a percent of money, which is called the indirect fund, which goes to the university for various costs associated with maintaining a research institution. So all that can be potentially affected.
Yeah, because they're not going to hang on to the funds, or that might have difficulties within their own makeup in regards to allocation of funding, because it could go elsewhere, which again affects, what is actually happening with these current investigators. Is this a normal thing to happen on a change of administration in the US?
Right. So as we mentioned in the previous video, the pause is not, unheard of. Pauses happen. Imagine an administrator coming in, a new administrator coming in any situation. That individual would like to look and see, where are the investments being made. So there needs to be a pause to some extent, to allow that the new team to look at, what are we doing, how are we doing things, and can we improve here, can we improve there. So this is not abnormal. What is concerning is the wide range of effects that this may incur. And again, we're just waiting to hear and waiting and hoping, fingers crossed, that the pause will be stopped, and the new NIH director, and his team are getting very close, or will have enough information to decide on changes that they want to implement, and then start the process again. And hopefully all the individuals that participate in the review panels will be available for the grant reviews.
Because this pause affects more than just the NIH, but we're just focusing our talk today on the National Institute of Health. So it's quite far-reaching. Is this unusual?
I think the way that it's been done is almost like a shock to the system. That seems to be unusual. But I would like to refrain from, making statements on things that I think is beyond what we're interested in. I mean, the reason for our video is to try to
Focus.
reduce some of the concerns of folks who are involved in clinical trials, having a child in a clinical trial, and think that all the clinical trial will stop and because of lack of money. Now, as we mentioned before, the clinical trials, the ongoing clinical trials and the ongoing research, which were already funded by previously submitted application in the previous cycle of application and funding. And as long as the money is encumbered for that activity, that should be in place. That should not be any change on those plans. And I think that is what the message that we want to convey, that these things should be maintained. Okay. And as we suggested, the application for the new grants, and that is what is in question, because those are the ones that need to undergo the peer review process. And those are the ones that are potentially going to be affected by this delay and any delay in the process thereafter.
Okay. No, that's good to know. So effectively, clinical trials that are currently funded will remain being funded, and they'll continue as usual.
Right, assuming that the funds for that particular application were appropriately encumbered.
Okay. Well, I think that should give some relief to people and parents that are actually going through clinical trials at this stage, to know that they're still working and funded, and so that it does still cater for their child at this time.
Right, and we will update. I mean, hopefully we'll have better news in the coming days, and that's what we all hope for. Our children direly need the new effective therapies. In fact, there are no effective therapies against the DIPG, DMG, and obviously everybody knows radiation therapy is the standard application. But at this point, with all the exciting things that scientists and clinicians have had in the last few years, ranging from drugs that have a positive effect to CAR T and their variants. There are different variants of CAR T applications. There's some potential light in the end of the tunnel, and we want to keep that momentum, and we certainly don't want that to stop. Our scientists, our clinicians do need that investment fund in order to proceed with the advances that they've had in the last 5, 10 years. And this is critical to all of us.
Absolutely. You know, effectively in the land of DMG, DIPG, we all need hope. And I think it's important that, as you said, the advances in technology and science keep going so that we can have more hope and light at the end of the tunnel for our DIPG children. That I think that's amazing that we get that, because there's some really good work coming through, and eventually we will have some more videos on that as well, just to talk about what science is actually bringing in for our DMG DIPG children. All right, thank you very much, Marcelo. We're going to say,
Gerry, it's a pleasure. Absolutely.
yep. So goodbye from Sydney, Australia, and we'll talk again soon.
Later, mate.
Okay.